Hey friends, welcome back to the channel with more Euphoria. This is the second special episode. First one was so enjoyable. Might actually have been my favorite episode, despite the fact that not a lot happened. It's just one conversation, one deep look at both Ali and Rue. It was just really well done. Don't know what to expect from this episode. Looking forward to it though. If you guys want to watch the full reaction, you can check out Patreon in the link in the description below. Otherwise, take a quick moment to leave a like and let's get started.
So where do you want to start?
Therapy.
Why'd you run away?
How did they do this?
So they pull back, make other plans.
The song choice is always so good. Ah.
Can we not talk about that?
What do you want to talk about?
I think I want to go off my hormones. I feel like I've framed my body, my personality, and like my soul around what I think men desire. I feel like a fraud.
The amount of self-criticism you're experiencing, it's a lot.
But I think it's necessary.
Are you sure?
I hope so.
You're just a lot harder on yourself than you probably should be.
And this brings me back. Therapy.
Acknowledging that's important.
I've been trying to conquer femininity. I feel like femininity conquered me.
This is a long way from where she was on
What?
that dance night.
Most girls, when you first talk to them, they like automatically analyze and compare themselves to you. Like their eyes wandering over your face or you know, the quick takes up and down your body.
Jeez.
Honestly, it would be a kind of sensual experience if it wasn't so fucking terrifying. Most girls.
But not Rue.
No girl had ever looked at me the way Rue did. Rue was the first girl that didn't just look at me. Like, she actually saw me.
I can't imagine how that must have felt.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of how a mom would see you.
Keep going with that thought.
Well, just like how a mom sees you before you're anything. And like, loves you just for that.
Is that how your mom saw you?
I don't know.
Is that how you imagine your mom saw you?
I hope so.
Is that her? Aww.
I've always thought of puberty as like a broadening or a deepening or like a thickening. And you know, that like when it happened, I'd just like end up on the other side. A man, like through and through. But then I think about beautiful things that are also broad and deep and thick, like the ocean. Because the ocean's strong as fuck and feminine as fuck. And like both are what makes the ocean the ocean. My grandmother used to live by the ocean. At least for me, being trans is spiritual. I want to be alive. I mean, that's what this has always been about, is like staying alive. The only problem is I might have lost Rue along the way. I just freaked out, like I panicked, and I felt like if I didn't get out, I was gonna fucking die.
Were you thinking about hurting yourself?
There's a difference between thinking about hurting yourself and wanting to hurt yourself, but I think that gap was closing.
This is a good therapist.
So I ran. And I left someone like I really loved behind. I don't know why I'm crying. Ugh.
Because it hurts.
At the same time, though, I'm like really angry at Rue. Her sobriety is like completely dependent on how available I am to her. I'd feel like this weight. Like, what if she relapses because I'm not there?
This is why it was too early for you to be together. Her mother? I don't think we knew that about her, did we? We knew something was up, but...
She's been clean for 9 months. Don't do that. Please, don't roll your eyes. She did say she wanted.
You can tell her no thank you.
Don't you feel the same way about Rue as you do your mom?
No.
You just said you were angry at Rue for the imbalance she created in the relationship.
She's
Would it
cutting
be fair
through.
to say that you resented that imbalance?
Therapist is cutting through
The
this.
same person who saw you, who truly saw you, in the same way that your mom did when you were a baby, was also incapable of seeing how her addictions affected you.
Yeah, I guess I've like never thought about it that way before.
That's what a good fucking therapist does. That's just the first session. Did she talk to Nate about her mom? Freaking creepy ass
The most
music.
profound relationships I've ever had have been with people I've never met. Maybe that's like what I'm actually attracted to. The letdown. The fact that like none of it's real.
I've never even seen his face.
I don't have to. I've gotten to know him like really well.
Except you could be lying.
Rue, anyone could be lying. Trust me, Rue, it's not in my head. I think you two would actually really get along. I fall in love so easily. Half of every relationship is in my head. There were so many times I wanted to kiss her.
Didn't know she felt that way back then, even.
I'm sorry. I should go. I froze.
Why do you think that is?
Because I'd never kissed a girl before.
Deeper than that.
The only thought I had was like, don't lose her.
And you froze.
Hey,
oh no.
How could it be possible that Rue loved me as much as I loved her?
Whoa. They're changing.
I think the better question is,
How we see
why
that.
would you think that would be impossible?
Yeah.
I feel like I got to know him better than I knew Rue. We used to sext forever. It was like genuinely the best sex I've ever had. It was just pure fucking imagination. Why are there no photos of us?
What?
Because whoever I was talking to didn't exist.
Whoa.
Don't look at my face.
She's back.
Rue!
Oh my god. Now we're continuing
What?
from the
Rue.
first episode.
But I just had this like really bad nightmare about living in New York City with Rue.
That was a freaking nightmare.
no.
Holy crap.
Rue, open the door! Rue! 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 Come on!
really pretty.
She's
I wanted to say hi and
ambushed. There was so much going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about.
How could you just like fucking ambush me like that? How could you fucking do this to me?
I wouldn't have done this if I didn't think you could handle it.
What, so like it's for my own good?
She wants to apologize.
She wants my forgiveness?
She could hear all that. Oh boy.
If you really don't care, then just go downstairs and let her apologize.
Even if it's not real?
She leave already? Screwed up everything.
How long was she missing for?
Missing? She overheard. Oh my god.
That's rude.
Hey, Jules.
I can't go back.
You're 17.
Wow.
I don't belong there.
Jules, I'm begging.
She's on the other side of the door.
Open the door!
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for this week.
Sorry if that was a lot.
I'm the one person you never have to apologize to.
Thanks. Merry Christmas.
I'm Jewish.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be. It's a way better holiday.
Jules,
Rue?
I was just riding my bike to go meet Ali, and I passed your house.
I really missed you.
This feels surreal. Oh my god.
And I'm really sorry about leaving and stuff.
I don't know why I'm crying. I just get really emotional during the holidays.
It's okay.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Jules.
No. Whoa. Whoa. Holy crap. And Rue probably, I think she exited because it was a danger to her sobriety. Wow. These are supposed to be special episodes, and yet I feel like they are practically necessary to watch to gain a full appreciation for the series, because they add so much context. Last time we realized that Rue thought Jules cheated on her because they didn't talk about being in a relationship together. Kind of wanted to shake both of them after that. But this time, we learn about Jules' mom having a substance abuse problem. We knew she had some sort of problem. She got worse and went away. But we didn't know the exact reason why. And if it was mentioned, it was not paid much attention to in the first season. And so that really changes the way we see Jules' action in her relationship with Rue. Because even though Jules' mom was her problem was alcohol and not drugs like Rue's, it colors so much of the way I think about Jules' relationship with Rue. But yeah, I mean, all along we've been under the impression that Jules is bad for Rue, but in reality, Rue is bad for Jules too, because getting together with somebody who has such an intense drug habit, when you have so much hatred towards your mother for having an intense alcohol problem, that's not the healthiest thing in the world if you're not going to address it. And she doesn't address it. She just tries to keep it from Rue. And I don't think she was talking to a therapist at that point. So, but she loves Rue so much. In fact, she was in love with Rue much earlier than even we thought, given the fact that we were watching this show. Like we thought she froze up when Rue kissed her because she was in shock and couldn't process what was happening. And I guess in a sense that is true, but it was because she loved Rue so deeply that she couldn't believe Rue loved her as well, which I love how the special episodes just change the dynamic of everything. My heart couldn't handle that moment, just could not. This episode. And I really liked how this episode kind of paralleled Rue's episode last time. And it's because of COVID that these episodes were very contained, only a few people interacting at a time. But Ali honestly acts kind of like a pseudo therapist in some ways last time, um, because he's been through so much, and because he has a personal connection with Rue, he's able to reach her in a different way that a therapist wouldn't be able to. And most of the time, I'm like, go to a therapist. Everybody needs to go to therapy. But um, this is what Rue, like Ali, that talk with Ali was what Rue needed in that moment. And as for Jules, her therapist is great and asks just the right questions, says just the right things. That's a perfect fit for her too. So good to see both of them start to move forward a little bit with people at their side. And as someone who used to go to therapy, it was definitely very satisfying to see both the conversation between Ali and Rue, and also the session between Jules and, I don't know her name, the therapist. But yeah, there was a part of the session that made me wish I could go back and re-edit the previous special episode with Rue. Ali asked her to name something more powerful than her, and she says a Mack truck, then she says the ocean. And in this episode, Jules says she wants to be as strong as the ocean. She wants to be as beautiful as the ocean. And she was thinking about things that are deep and thick and broad. And yeah, that was the ocean. So it's really cool that they both were thinking of the same thing. And we found out the reality of that scene at the beginning of the last episode too. It's a recurring nightmare of Jules's. Her and Rue in New York. Jules comes back from school to find Rue locked in the bathroom, and by the time she's finally able to break down the door, Rue is on the ground dead. Ah, man, that was. I had guesses about what that scene was last time, and I was just completely way off. What else? The use of music in this show continues to really impress. The songs are perfect for each moment. Like, it makes me feel like, hey, like all the other shows on TV, you really need to step up your game a little. And I think we could all tell at the end of last season that despite Jules being like super confident and saying she's like operating at like 110%, that during that dance, that she was not where she needed to be, that her confidence was based in some warped thought processes. And she takes some steps forward when she left. She came back and was talking to her therapist about how she wanted to conquer men so she could conquer femininity. And it changes now. And like social constructs of what a girl or a woman should be was making her want to prove to the world and to herself how feminine she could be. But femininity wound up conquering her instead. And so talking to the therapist about wanting to go off hormones, it's a big step for her. It's a healthy step for her mentally. But and I'm not saying her path is the right way for other trans people, but it definitely feels like it's the right path for her. And it's not about detransitioning, though from what I've heard, most people who detransition actually do so because of the societal backlash, which is just horrible to think about. Um, I've heard that anecdotally, the only people who regret it are people who face so much bullying and backlash that none of them feel bad because they transitioned. They feel bad because of their reaction to them transitioning. But yeah, Jules feels like she's based off so much of her personality and body and even soul around what men want in an effort to be as much woman as she can be. And she says she feels like a fraud. And I mean, that's something a lot of people in the LGBTQ community feel too. And I think Rue's love and adoration definitely had a hand in undoing some of her desire to achieve this ultimate feminine ideal. It just took a while for Jules to realize that. And Jules was saying how like all women look at you and measure you up to where you fit in their hierarchy. And I think she was doing that to herself as well, which terrible, terrible feeling. One that I'm not a woman, so I don't know how it feels or how true it is, or if that's something that's just in Jules's mind. But I mean, she does talk about having a very active imagination, but Rue didn't make Jules feel like she was being judged, so she might be the only person who's able to cut through everything and see her for who she really is and love her for who she is. And the therapist, so good. That line about how she saw her, like how Rue saw her similarly to how a mother sees a child before anything, and the therapist saying, "Is that how your mother saw you?" Oh, that was so good. And yeah, with her own mom sent her to that mental health facility. It's like, yeah, I don't think it's hard to know how her mom feels about her, especially since she cut her out of her life after that. Um, Man, this episode cut really deep. And the way Jules felt seen by Rue explains how she fell so deeply for her, despite the fact that there are similar substance abuse problems between Rue and Jules's mother. That just adds another layer of complication to this because she resents having Rue's sobriety seemingly dependent on her, and it's a weight she hates having to bear. And so she didn't want to be that for her mother, but I mean, the therapist gets to the core of it and ties the way she feels about her mother to the way she feels about Rue in a way that Jules hadn't thought about before. That's what a very good therapist does. And speaking of the mom though, the way the father ambushed her with her mother showing up was really, really bad. And I get that he obviously wants what's best for Jules's mom and he wants Jules to have a relationship with her mom on some level, but definitely did not like the way he handled that. And but yeah, the therapist is really good at recognizing what Jules is doing, though, with saying that she believes she's like taken away her body, soul, and personality, based it on everything that she sees outside. And she said, like the therapist says that the self criticism, how hard Jules is on herself, is just it's a problem. And I mean, I heard a lot of the same words from my therapist, actually. I'm not trans, to be clear. My therapy was more about being neglected emotionally my entire life. And I mean, I had the same problem of being too hard on myself because I thought it was my fault that I didn't receive the love and care that I needed. So it became this thought process of like, what do I need to achieve? Who do I need to become to be worthy of being loved? And when nothing I ever did ever resulted in receiving that love, I just subconsciously accepted that there was something wrong with who I was as a person, that some part of me was just intrinsically unlovable. So, yeah, it was bad. And I didn't realize that's how I felt and how ridiculous that was until after going to therapy. I actually realized it on my own, not in a therapy session, but therapy is obviously what gave me the tools to figure that out on my own. So, I got sidetracked a little, but I'm just sharing this with you because I'm telling you guys how much that conversation, that therapy session with Jules and her therapist, that hits extra hard because of where I'm coming from. But yeah, that part when Jules is talking about how Rue kissed her and she thought it was impossible that Rue loved her as much as she loved Rue. Yeah, again, that hit hard because I've never felt love, not just equal to the love that I give out into the world. I've just never felt it. And I mean, I'm nearly twice these kids' age. And the idea that Jules found someone who could see her, like the real her, and how much it was of a relief for somebody like me who feels fundamentally unseen, it's like very beautiful seeing Jules talking about feeling that for the first time. So I really, really, really like that. And the therapist is able to get Jules to dig really deep into some of her issues. The idea that every relationship is so much in her own head, how she still loves Tyler on some level, even though he's not real. And can I just reiterate how much of a evil fuck Nate is? Ugh. And that sex scene with Rue just within her reach, that was something else. The cinematography in this show is just spectacular. Um, yeah, Jules, she didn't want to do this therapy session, but she wound up getting out a lot of it out of it. Um, so I'm really happy for her, and I think all this stuff that happened between her and Rue, I mean, they needed to break up. They needed time for both of them to figure out who they are by themselves, to have a chance at being together in the future. And I mean, being together in the future can't even be the focus right now. They need to become healthier and create some stability in their lives before they can actually contribute in a healthy way to each other's lives. So I don't know what a happy ending for this show is going to be. Either both of them healthy apart or both of them healthy together. I'm not sure. I don't know where they'll want to go with this story. And Rue coming to see Jules to say Merry Christmas at the end there. I didn't think they'd do that because it's a special episode that I'm not sure everybody will watch. And yet, this big moment that we've all been waiting for is just right here in the middle of it. And yeah, really surprised they did that, but also really happy because it was such a powerful moment. Um, I don't. I get really emotional during the holidays. Freaking, what a line! That was great. And with Merry Christmas, Jules, Rue leaves. My heart. These two girls. Was that Rue's way of saying goodbye so that she could focus on her sobriety? Just she needed to see her one last time and say goodbye. Because that there was some finality to that. I felt. Um, I know I've said that they need their time apart, but it also breaks my heart to see them struggling so much being apart. And yeah, these two characters are just such different places, both very unhealthy. But Jules was talking about for her how for her being trans was always about wanting to be alive and staying alive, whereas with Rue, she was talking to Ali last time about just not planning on being around for very long. So they're not in a place where they're compatible at all. Their lives are just too different, and they're both in places where they can't be together at this moment. There's so much to delve into in this episode. I could just go on forever and ever, but I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. The cinematography in this episode was great. The moments of season one flashing in Jules' eye at the beginning of the episode. I don't know how they did that, but that was fantastic. And yeah, that sex scene with Tyler slash Nate and reaching out for Rue. My gosh. Um, season two can't come soon enough. I know they haven't even filmed it at this point, but really looking forward to the story that they tell and how Rue and Jules' story moves forward as well. That's going to be it for this time, though. Thanks for watching. Full reaction in the description on Patreon, in the link in the description below. Leave a like, really helps the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, friends.